And today we'd like to pitch to you guys a product focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're calling our product Party Around the World. And for everyone from the Toy Foundation and Toy Association here today, we thank you for your time. And I'm going to pass it off to Kavin to explain the goal of our product.
So our goal has three main aspects: promoting intergenerational activities, promoting cultural competency, and lowering screen time in children. Based on our research, we have seen that there are several detriments to kids not spending time with their grandparents. According to a study done by Oxford, kids who don't spend time with their grandparents are more likely to develop behavioral issues and emotional issues. Additionally, CBS News reported that when kids spend time with their grandparents, it lowers the risk of depression in both of them. The primary motives for promoting cultural competency are to preserve traditions of a wide variety of cultures and to spread awareness about different cultures in order to show people that we're all just human. This is especially important in a time that is so divisive. Finally, kids nowadays are constantly on their screens, and their main form of social interaction is also done through technology. On the next slide, we have a graph from the preventive medicine reports about their decreased psychological well-being of children in correlation to the amount of time they spend on their screens per day. As we can see here, there's a vast drop starting from 1.5 hours for all ages and children.
So as I was growing up, I enjoyed playing classic American card games with my family and grandparents, including things like Go Fish, Uno, and even Crazy 8, because it really promoted bonding and allowed me to understand my culture as an American. However, I feel that other cultures here in America don't have the same opportunity because they don't have the same access to various games from their own cultures. And this is also a theme that I noticed amongst my fellow group mates after some discussion.
Yeah, so with me, my story is my father's side is predominantly Ashkenazi Jewish, and I didn't even know that this card game existed until the presentation and we were researching it. So I feel like I really missed out because they weren't widespread and we didn't really play games from other cultures.
So my personal connection to this product is growing up, whenever I went to the temple, I was always curious about the different gods there and what they represented, which pushed me to read the Mahabharata, which is one of the two Hindu epics. As a result, I've been very interested in Hindu mythology, which is why I want to learn more about Ganjapa, an Indian card game which uses characters from the Ramayana, which is the second Hindu epic. I think that this would be an interesting way to learn more about Hindu mythology and introduce it to some of my friends.
And yeah, so part of my family actually comes from Persia through Zoroastrian immigration. And so one card game that I was always that I learned about while we were researching was a game called Asnas. And essentially this game has been played in both the Arab world and in Iran. And one thing that was really cool about it was it actually taught me some Farsi words because it's similar to poker. So it has some Farsi words. So I was able to learn words like Sirbaz to mean soldier, or Lakat to mean musician, Shah for king, Bibi for lady, and As for ace. Jacob, next slide. And so essentially the way we decided to package our product was that we would have individual packs, prepackaged packs of 3, and users can also make a custom pack of whichever games they'd like. And so we decided to package these games by the prepackaged games by region. So we'd have a South Asia and the Near East edition, which would be Pisha Pesha, which is kind of Jewish Israeli, Ganjpa, which is Indian, and then as I previously mentioned, Asnas, which is Persian. Then we'd have an East Asian edition, which would have a deck of Chinese playing cards, which are obviously from China, Daifugo, which is a Japanese game, as well as Hanafuda, which is a different Japanese game. Then our next region we did was Europe and Africa. And so we wanted this game called Briscola, which is Italian playing cards, Waddington Watt, which was originally a British card game, but is now the national card game of Nigeria, as well as Agram, which is from Central Africa. And then our last region was going to be from the Americas. And so for that, we wanted a standard deck of playing cards, which is, all over the world, but very common in America for almost any American card game. Then a deck of Spanish playing cards, which are technically Spanish, but very popular throughout Latin America. And then finally, not necessarily Uno, because we know that's trademarked. We would like to potentially partner because we know that's one of the most popular card games of all time. But ideally that was supposed to be some type of an American card game, which has a unique deck, but definitely an American game for sure. And I believe Ben is going to talk about how we're selling our product.
Yeah, so again, how we will sell our product. So pretty simple plan here. We plan to sell each of the games mentioned individually, as well as in packs of 3 by region. So for example, Ishan mentioned like Europe, South Asia, East Asia, regions like that. And then we're also plan to, after launching, to start an online website where we can or where customers can customize packs of 3, choose whatever 3 games that they want, and also even customize some card decks as well. And then finally, we plan to offer kiosk in physical stores such as Target and Walmart, but also in smaller local game shops, so that we are able to reach as many customers as possible. And then now I'll pass it off to Jacob to talk about our cost estimates.
Yeah, so talking about our unit cost, this is going to be per deck of cards, and it does vary from about $1 to $3 because some of the games don't use the traditional deck of cards. And now for our shipping, since we want to appeal to as many different cultures and geographic locations as possible, the burden of the shipping expense is going to fall onto the buyer. Now, our total cost for us, we estimated using sources like Alibaba, is going to also depend on the type of card we use. And for a pack of 1 to 3, that's going to be about $3 to $5. Now, our overall retail price, this also depends on the pack size and which decks of cards you use. That's going to be about $6 to $10. And we took into account all of our costs to come to that price range. Now, we wanted to do an in-depth analysis of our overall product because we know their strengths and weaknesses of everything. Our overall strengths is that we have purpose. We want to appeal to a wide range of customers and teach them something new about cultures that they don't know about. Also, we want easy to use instructions, but as our weaknesses say, the instructions might not be able to be in every single language because we want to appeal to so many different cultures and countries. And one current weakness that we see is families being in other countries because it's a card game. It might be kind of challenging to play with somebody far away. But that comes to opportunities. Where we see ourselves combating that in the future is being able to integrate our company with something like Zoom or Microsoft Teams in order to allow us to be played anywhere in the world with whoever you want. Because we know how important spending time with your grandchildren and grandparents are. Now, we also see ourselves expanding into other games and reaching more cultures. We know that some games such as Mahjong, which uses tiles, can't be played with the deck of cards, and that's not currently what we offer. So we see ourselves, when we add more, establishing ourselves as more of a game manufacturer. Now, what about our threats? Our main threat is online games, but like I said, we do see ourselves expanding into that scene and other card game manufacturers. But we researched other card game manufacturers and don't see any offers such as ours where you can truly experience many different places around the world through games. Now, thank you so much for listening to our presentation and taking time out of your busy days.